Hester was hurt with the A, so she thinks like, well, she might as well get like.
Yeah, because Dimsdale, he didn't really have anyone, and Hester had Pearl, so at least she had someone to somewhat confide in, while Dimsdale had to do it all himself and deal with his guilt for letting Hester do it on her own.
And his best friend was like someone who's trying to give him mental problems, so it's kind of messed up.
But how about when Hester was talking with Chillingsworth about what the local government might do?
Oh, because they were talking about getting her A removed, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't understand how that works. They were scorning her for the past 7 years, but now they just turn around and say, oh yeah, all's been forgiven, you're good, we'll take it.
I think what's even weirder is how she, like, wanted to keep it on. Like, I wouldn't want to keep it on.
Well, I mean, she probably wanted to keep it on because it like, reminded her of her sins.
Exactly,
So, but
she took, like, full responsibility for her actions.
Yeah, so she was, like, trying to repent, like, her sins, but, like, she's a really strong individual.
and she wanted to have it as a sign for that she got through it and that it didn't really bother her at all.
Yeah, she's really strong.
Yeah, but one of the weirdest things is why Pearl was making her own letter A. Like, I don't understand why she would do that.
Well, like, when kids just want to be like their parents, so they like wear their shoes and like their clothes. I feel like it was kind of something like that. But Pearl doesn't really understand why she has the letter A.
Because her mom didn't tell her anything about the scarlet letter.
She doesn't, and she doesn't understand why her mom was like angry about like you putting on the letter A. And she asked her, she was like, "Why did you do that?" And she just wants to be like her mom. And she even said, didn't she say something like, "When I grow up, I want to have my own letter A"?
Yeah, I do remember that. If we look at how Hawthorne may have intended it to be written, Pearl, she's this freak of nature, an accident in a way, and so she made her scarlet letter, or her scarlet A, out of nature to show that it's beautiful, untamed and unkept, like Hester, how she went and did her own thing even when it was against the public community's like views and values, to show that how Hester is wild like nature, and how it's being passed on to Pearl, and how she's trying to keep it going, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, and Pearl is basically like the physical embodiment of the letter, so I feel like it's kind of interesting how she like wants her own scarlet letter.
Well, because when we look back on it, about how when she keeps asking her mom what the letter is, Hester refuses to tell her because she thinks that she's too young. But the ironic thing is that even if Hester didn't have a letter, Pearl's the physical embodiment of the letter in a person.
So that's probably why she didn't care about like taking it off, because even if she took off the letter, like the townspeople would still like see Pearl and think about the scarlet letter, so it wouldn't even matter.
Exactly. Well, like I don't. It's weird to say, because I don't see how the community in just 7 years they could change their views and how they see the scarlet letter and how they see Hester, even though they were so mean to her for the past 7 years, and she was so lonely, and they did nothing but use her for their personal gain, like to comfort those who have committed sins or who feel they're guilty of doing something, or for her to make clothes for the people of the community.
Yeah, and it says in like the book, the scarlet letter had the effect of a cross on a nun's bosom. So like she went from on the scaffold, everyone like thinking that she was gonna like steal their man, to like being a nun and like a shoulder to cry on. And that's like,
because soon after, instead of like adultery, they believed that the scarlet letter soon meant April, because she helped the poor, and then she also made clothes for the townspeople.
yeah, I don't know, that's kind of like weird to me. Like they just all of a sudden like switched into like liking her, but then they still, even though they think that she's like basically a nun, she's not allowed in like social circles, she's still alienated but then they like come to her and like cry on her shoulder, but they don't like respect her.
I guess what Hawthorne's trying to show is that how during that time period, people were super strict, but we were kind of evolving due to like Enlightenment ideas that a person could do something, but they could then change if they were to make up what they did with doing kind acts and whatnot. And so what I think Hawthorne was trying to do by showing how the townspeople believe her to be like a nun is how she may have committed all these things, but she's now a good person. But since she committed those acts, she's still alienated from everyone else because she's on a higher spiritual level now that she understands what she did is wrong and keeps helping others.
And she even believes, like, even though like she has worn the scarlet letter all that time, like she can't take off the letter. She thinks that it's like
Like it makes
Like-
her up as a person.
like God's like the only person who can remove like that burden from her.
Well, yeah, she said that if the scarlet letter were to come off, it would come off naturally, and no person would take it off when they were talking with chilling